That junk isn't worth anything." The words cut through the parking lot of Thunder Valley Dragway in Sacramento, California, a legendary quarter-mile drag strip where muscle car enthusiasts gathered every Saturday night to race, show off custom builds, and argue about which American V8 was the greatest ever made. The declaration came from a guy named Kyle Morrison, late 20s, wearing a Dodge Hellcat t-shirt, wraparound sunglasses, even though it was 7 p.m., and an attitude that suggested his net worth was directly tied to his car's horsepower. He was standing next to his pride and joy, a 2021 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat Red Eye, painted in Go Mango orange with black racing stripes, sitting on 20-inch forged wheels, exhaust modified to be loud enough to set off car alarms 3 blocks away. Under the hood sat a supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8, producing 797 horsepower, a factory engine that cost more than most people's entire cars. Kyle had added another $25,000 in modifications, upgraded supercharger pulley, cold air intake, performance exhaust, dyno tune pushing the output to around 850 horsepower. This car could run the quarter mile in 10.8 seconds at 135 mph. It was fast, loud, expensive, and impossible to miss. Kyle made sure of that by revving the engine constantly, the supercharger whine echoing off the buildings, announcing to everyone present that he had money and power, and no shame about displaying either. The target of Kyle's mockery was parked 3 spaces away, looking wildly out of place among the muscle cars, tuner imports, and custom hot rods that filled Thunder Valley's staging area. A 1967 Volkswagen Beetle, the classic air-cooled model that defined an era of affordable, simple transportation. This particular Beetle looked like it had been rescued from a junkyard about 15 minutes before being driven here. The paint was faded baby blue with rust bubbles pushing through like acne. The chrome bumpers were pitted and dented. One headlight was cracked. The passenger door didn't quite align with the body, suggesting previous accident damage poorly repaired. And the tires were mismatched. 2 different brands with different tread patterns. The interior, visible through the windows, showed duct-taped seats, a steering wheel wrapped in electrical tape, and a dashboard that looked like it had been stored outside for a decade. By every visual metric, this Beetle belonged in a museum exhibit titled Cars That Should Have Been Scrapped in 1985, not sitting in the staging lanes at one of California's premier drag strips, alongside vehicles worth 6 figures. The Beetle's owner was Jennifer Walsh, 36 years old, wearing oil-stained jeans, a faded t-shirt from her shop, Walsh Performance Engineering in rural Northern California, and work boots that had clearly seen better years. She'd driven this Beetle 2 hours from her small town to Thunder Valley, specifically to race in the Run What You Brung bracket, an open class where anyone, with anything, could compete regardless of vehicle type or modifications. Most competitors brought heavily modified sports cars, muscle cars, or purpose-built drag racers. Jennifer had brought what looked like it should be classified as rolling scrap metal. She stood next to her Beetle with arms crossed, calm expression, not reacting to Kyle's commentary, even though he was making sure everyone within earshot could hear him. Kyle walked over, phone out, filming for his Instagram, circling the Beetle like someone examining roadkill. "This is what's racing tonight, a Beetle, a Beetle? From 1967? Look at this rust, I can literally poke my finger through the fender. The tires are from different decades. I think that passenger door is from a different car. And you're gonna race this against my Hellcat." He zoomed his camera in on the rust spots, the mismatched tires, the duct-taped interior. "Lady, I don't mean to be harsh, but this is a joke, right? Like, you're pranking everyone. Because if you actually think this pile of junk can compete with real cars, you're delusional. I'm almost embarrassed for you." Several people in the crowd laughed. Some looked uncomfortable. Most just watched, curious about how Jennifer would respond. Jennifer looked at Kyle calmly. "You done making your little video?" Kyle smirked. "Yeah, I'm done. Just wanted to document this for when you inevitably break down on the launch or run like a 20-second quarter mile. But hey, at least you tried, right? Participation trophy and all that." Jennifer reached into her Beetle and pulled out a registration slip, handing it to the track official nearby. "Jennifer Walsh, entered in unlimited bracket. I'm racing." The official, a woman named Angela Rodriguez, who'd been working Thunder Valley for 12 years and had seen every kind of vehicle imaginable attempt the quarter mile, looked at Jennifer with concern. "Ma'am, I gotta warn you, some of these cars are making over 1,000 horsepower. Unlimited, eh? Bracket means no restrictions. Are you sure you want to run that Beetle in this class? Jennifer nodded. I'm sure. Angela shrugged, marked the entry, handed Jennifer a timing slip. Your funeral. You're in heat too, 15 minutes. Good luck. Jennifer took the slip and walked back to her Beetle. Kyle was still filming, narrating to his phone. Guys, this is going to be hilarious. Random lady with a junk Beetle thinks she can hang with real performance cars. I'm calling it now. She doesn't even make it down the track. But hey, free content, right? He posted the video to Instagram with the caption, "When you bring a lawnmower to a NASCAR race, this won't end well. Thunder Valley, Hellcat, Beetle, you yikes." The post immediately got comments. Most were laughing emojis. A few defended Jennifer. Most just waited to see what would happen. Before we go further, I want to ask, where are you watching from? US? Another country? Drop a comment. And tell me, have you ever been completely underestimated because of appearances? How did you prove them wrong? Let's build a community that values substance over style. Jennifer walked to the front of her Beetle and popped the hood, well, trunk, since Beetles are rear engine with the front compartment for storage. Inside was indeed a spare tire and some tools, exactly as you'd expect. But then she walked to the rear of the Beetle and opened the engine cover. Several people who'd been half watching out of curiosity wandered over to look. What they saw didn't make sense. The engine bay wasn't stock, not even close. Instead of the original 1.6-litre air-cooled flat 4 that made maybe 53 horsepower when new, there sat a modern Subaru EJ257 engine, a 2.5-litre turbocharged flat 4 from a WRX STI. But even that didn't tell the whole story. This EJ257 had been completely rebuilt. Forged pistons and rods, ported and polished heads, upgraded turbocharger, looked like a precision 6266 unit, capable of supporting over 600 horsepower. Custom intake manifold, aftermarket fuel injectors, standalone engine management computer, intercooler plumbing running through custom fabricated ducting, upgraded fuel system with dual high-flow pumps. The transmission looked like a sequential dog box, probably a Weddell HV24, known for lightning-fast shifts and ability to handle massive torque. Custom axles, limited slip differential, the whole drivetrain upgraded to handle power that would destroy stock Beetle components. The engine bay was clean, professionally wired, every component either new or meticulously maintained. This wasn't a backyard bolt-together job. This was professional-grade engineering disguised as trash. Jennifer stood next to the open engine cover, watching as people's expressions changed from mockery to confusion to recognition. One older guy, a serious drag racer who'd been building engines for 40 years, walked up and just stared. "Is that a built EJ257? Jennifer nodded. 2.5-litre, forged internals, Precision 6266 turbo, making about 620 horsepower at 28 psi of boost, custom tuned for quarter-mile acceleration." The guy's eyes widened. "In a 1967 Beetle?" "Yes, sir." "What's the weight?" 1,850 pounds. Stripped all unnecessary components, fiberglass fenders and hood, Lexan windows, aluminum panels where possible. Power-to-weight ratio is 0.33 horsepower per pound. The guy started laughing, not mockingly but in genuine appreciation. "You sandbagged them. You built a sleeper and made it look like trash on purpose." Jennifer shrugged. "I like surprising people. Plus, the worse it looks, the less people expect, the bigger the shock when it performs." Word spread like wildfire through the staging area. Within minutes, 50 people were crowded around Jennifer's Beetle, looking at the engine, asking questions, taking photos. Kyle Morrison pushed through the crowd, his earlier confidence evaporating as he saw what was under the engine cover. "What the? That's a Subaru engine in a Beetle?" Jennifer closed the engine cover. "Yep. But it's still just junk that isn't worth anything, right? Pure trash that's embarrassing to even look at?" Kyle's face flushed. He'd just publicly mocked a build that might actually be faster than his Hellcat. His car made 850 horsepower but weighed 4,450 pounds, giving it a power-to-weight ratio of 0.19 hplb. Jennifer's Beetle made 620 horsepower but weighed 1,150 pounds, power-to-weight of 0.33 hplb. In drag racing, power-to-weight often matters more than absolute horsepower. Kyle tried to recover. Power doesn't mean you can drive. Let's see if you can actually launch that thing without destroying the drivetrain or spinning tires for the whole track. Jennifer met his eyes. You're right. Let's see, you racing first heat? Kyle nodded. Yeah, and I'm running 10.8 at 135. You won't come close. Jennifer smiled slightly. We'll see. The first heat was called. Kyle climbed into his Hellcat, started the supercharged Hemi, revved it to ear-splitting levels, and pulled into the staging lanes. His opponent was a modified Nissan GTR, making around 900 horsepower. Both cars staged, lights came down, launch. Kyle's Hellcat hooked up perfectly, all-wheel drive traction getting power to the ground. The supercharger whine building into a scream as he shifted through gears. He crossed the quarter mile in 10.72 seconds at 136 mph, a personal best. The crowd cheered. Kyle climbed out, pumped his fist, clearly proud. That was a seriously fast time. The GTR ran 10.89, losing by less than 2 car lengths. Heat 2 was called. Jennifer's Beetle versus a modified Camaro Z28, making around 700 horsepower. Jennifer started the Beetle. The turbocharged Subaru engine came to life with a sound completely foreign to what anyone expected from a VW. Not the puttering air-cooled clatter of a classic Beetle, but the aggressive turbo 4-cylinder sound of modern performance. She pulled into the staging lanes, the Beetle sitting low, on coilovers, exhaust burbling with that characteristic turbo bark. People lined the fence to watch. This was the race everyone wanted to see. Could a Beetle built from junkyard aesthetics actually perform? Jennifer staged, bumping forward carefully into the pre-stage light, then into the full stage light. The Camaro staged alongside her. The Christmas tree countdown began. Yellow, 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 green. Jennifer launched. The Beetle's rear tires. Mickey Thompson drag radials. Not the mismatched. Street tires visible on the front, hooked up with minimal spin. The lightweight chassis launching forward with acceleration that looked violent. The turbo built boost instantly. Wastegate screaming as excess pressure vented, the sequential transmission shifting with mechanical precision. First gear, 7,000 RPM, clutchless upshift. Second gear, boost building. Third gear, the Beetle accelerating like it was being pulled by a cable. The Camaro launched hard too, 700 horsepower pushing it forward. But the weight difference told the story. The Camaro weighed 3,600 pounds. The Beetle won 850. By the 8th mile mark, Jennifer was 2 car lengths ahead. By the 1,000-foot mark, 4 lengths. She crossed the finish line, glanced at her dash-mounted timer. 984 seconds at 142 mph. She'd just run almost a full second faster than Kyle's Hellcat in a 1967 Beetle. That looked like it should be in a scrapyard. The crowd absolutely erupted. People were screaming, jumping, filming, completely losing their minds. Angela Rodriguez, the track official, ran out with the timing slip, grinning ear to ear. 984 at 142. That's the fastest time run here in 6 months. How the hell did you do that in a Beetle? Jennifer climbed out, pulled off her helmet, smiled. Power to weight. Modern engine, good traction, lots of practice. She walked back to the staging area where a crowd immediately surrounded her. People congratulating her, asking about the build, wanting photos. Kyle Morrison stood off to the side, his earlier arrogance completely gone, looking at his phone where his Instagram post from 30 minutes ago was getting very different comments now. People were roasting him for mocking a car that had just destroyed his time. Some were posting side-by-side videos of his mockery versus Jennifer's run. The caption, "When trash runs faster than your 80k Hellcat." Kyle deleted the post, walked over to Jennifer, waited for a gap in the crowd. "I was wrong. I judged your car by how it looked. That was stupid and disrespectful. I apologize." Jennifer extended her hand. "Apology accepted. And for what it's worth, your Hellcat's fast. 10.7 is a great time. You just made assumptions based on appearance. That's a lesson we all learn eventually." Kyle shook her hand. "Can I ask why you made it look so rough? You clearly have the skills and money to make it beautiful," Jennifer explained. "Because I'm a mechanic and engineer, not a show builder. I spent money on performance. Engine, drivetrain, suspension, safety, paint and bodywork are cosmetic. They don't make you faster. And honestly, I enjoy the psychological advantage. When people see this car, they assume it's slow. That gives me an edge before we even launch." The tournament continued through several more heats. Jennifer won her bracket, running consistent low 9-second times, beating cars that cost 10 times what she'd invested in the Beetle. The finals put her against a purpose-built drag car, a tube chassis 32, Ford with a twin-turbo big block Chevy, making over 500 horsepower. That car ran 8.9 seconds and won. Jennifer came in second with a 9.81-second pass. She climbed out smiling, second place against cars built solely for drag racing, driving something that looked like it barely survived the trip to the track. The award ceremony that evening gave Jennifer the runner-up trophy and a check for $3,500. The announcer asked her to say something. She took the mic, looked at the crowd of gearheads and racers. "Thanks, everyone. I just want to say, don't judge capability by appearance. Don't assume someone's slow because their car looks rough, and don't let anyone tell you what you can't build or can't do. This Beetle started as a rusted shell I bought for $600. I spent 4 years building it in my 2-bay garage, doing all the work myself, learning as I went. Total investment, including the Subaru engine, $22,000. It looks like junk because I prioritized function over form, and tonight it ran faster than cars costing 6 figures. That's the power of smart engineering over big budgets." The crowd applauded enthusiastically. After the event, Jennifer was approached by several people wanting technical details. Subaru's swap into air-cooled Beetle required custom engine mounts, adapter plate for the transmission, modified CV joints for the swing axles, custom fuel system, completely rewired electrical. She'd fabricated most components herself, designed the turbo plumbing in CAD software, tuned the engine on a dyno she'd built in her shop. This wasn't a kit car build following someone else's instructions. This was custom engineering from someone who understood both the old platform and modern performance. One guy offered to buy the Beetle on the spot, $45,000 cash. Jennifer declined. This car represented 4 years of learning, problem-solving, proving to herself she could build something extraordinary from nothing. It wasn't for sale. Kyle Morrison came over before leaving. "Hey, I posted an apology on Instagram, took down the mocking video, told people I was wrong and you're an incredible builder. For what it's worth, I learned something tonight." Jennifer appreciated the gesture. "Thank you. And seriously, keep racing that Hellcat. It's a great car, just maybe don't judge other people's builds until you see them perform." Kyle agreed, actually smiled genuinely for the first time that night. They exchanged numbers, mutual respect between two car people who'd started on very different terms. The story spread through the drag racing and VW enthusiast communities over the following weeks. Photos and videos of Jennifer's Beetle went viral, not mainstream viral, but deep viral within automotive subcultures. The contrast between the rough exterior and insane performance resonated. The fact that a woman had built it herself in a small-town garage resonated even more. Jennifer's shop, Walsh Performance Engineering, started getting calls from across the country. People wanted her to build engines, fabricate parts, consult on custom projects. She hired 2 additional fabricators to handle increased work. She started offering turnkey Subaru-powered Beetle builds for customers willing to wait 12 or 18 months and pay $65,000. The first 3 slots sold out in a week. Automotive magazines requested features. She accepted a few from publications she respected, always emphasizing the engineering over the spectacle. One interview asked why she'd chosen a Beetle as the platform. "Because Beetles are underestimated. People see them as cute, slow, harmless. But the platform is actually brilliant. Lightweight, rear-engine layout for traction, simple construction that makes modifications easier than modern cars. Put a modern engine in one and you've got a sleeper that nobody expects. Plus, I like challenging assumptions. Everyone says you can't make a Beetle fast. I wanted to prove that's wrong." 3 months after Thunder Valley, Jennifer was invited to compete at Hot Rod Magazine's Drag Week, a grueling event where cars race at 5 different tracks over 5 days, driving hundreds of highway miles between events. The catch: your race car has to also be street legal and reliable enough for the road trips. Jennifer entered with the Beetle. Over 5 days and 200 highway miles, the Beetle ran consistent 9.8-second quarter miles at every track, never breaking down, never needing major repairs. She finished 3rd in her class, the only Volkswagen to complete the event, driving it home afterward. The Beetle became famous in the hot rod community, proof that reliability and performance aren't mutually exclusive, that old platforms can compete with modern if you engineer them correctly. Volkswagen enthusiasts worldwide started attempting similar builds, citing Jennifer's Beetle as inspiration. She became a reluctant icon in the air-cooled VW scene, receiving invitations to events, shows, seminars. She accepted some, declined most, always, emphasizing that she was a builder, not a celebrity. Kyle Morrison followed Jennifer's success, genuinely happy for her. He'd learned humility, started focusing less on ego and more on craft. He brought his Hellcat to Jennifer's shop 8 months later for custom turbo upgrade, a 15-hour drive because he specifically wanted her engineering expertise. She built him a twin-turbo kit that pushed his car to 1,100 horsepower while maintaining reliability. They became friends, occasionally racing, against each other at events, mutual respect between people who'd started as antagonist and underdog, but ended as equals. The rough-looking Beetle with the secret engine became legendary in drag racing circles. People remembered it for years. Racers studied videos of Jennifer's launches, her shifting technique, her tuning approach. Technical schools used the build as a teaching example, illustration of how engineering knowledge and creative problem-solving beat big budgets. The car appeared in a documentary about underdog racers. Jennifer participated reluctantly, but used the platform to encourage young women and underrepresented groups in automotive fields. She started a scholarship fund at her local community college, $10,000 annually, for students entering automotive technology programs, prioritizing applicants who showed passion over perfect grades. The first recipient was a 17-year-old girl who'd rebuilt a lawnmower engine in her backyard because she wanted to understand how things worked. That girl graduated, got hired at Jennifer's shop, became one of her best fabricators. The cycle continued. Jennifer kept building, kept racing, kept proving that assumptions are dangerous and appearance means nothing. The Beetle, still running, still fast, still looking like it belongs in a junkyard, still surprising people who judge books by covers. So one final time, where are you watching from? And what's your junk car story? The thing everyone said wasn't worth anything, that you proved was actually incredible? Drop it in the comments, because Jennifer Walsh proved that value isn't determined by appearance, that underestimation is an advantage, that the best surprises come in the roughest packages. Let's build a community that looks deeper than paint jobs and polished chrome, together.